Inzoi, a game that some call the first real competitor to Sims.
Fight.
And it's just released in early access, to very positive reviews from players all around. As someone with over 1,000 hours in The Sims 4 who played every Sims game from the first to The Sims 4, I just had to check this game out. It's a game that many people were hyped for, seeing that even from the get-go, Inzoi was given us mechanics we wanted in Sims 4 for years, like the cars for example, and it definitely looked at least like a visual upgrade from The Sims 4. But is it any good? Well, in this video we will check it out, so strap in, subscribe, and let's do it. It starts off with a cinematic showing us this Zoi, because I think that's what they call them, and this little cat following them into elevator, and then the cat presses the button and we go into heavens. Because I think the idea is that the cat is a god or something like that, and they control our lives. But anyway, we then go into creator, and immediately this looks like a Korean MMO to me. Like straight away, this is like the whole setup of the creator sim is just MMO from Korea, which I have no problem with because MMOs from Korea are awesome and they often do look good, and this game from the get-go looks good. The models are kind of have this more dose of realism to them, and I was trying to create Catalina from our previous videos. It didn't come out super good because I'm bad at creating characters in Sims or any other games, but I do like the customization options. There's a color wheel, there's different set of clothing for different types of situations, so that's all cool. But then we go into selecting the trait. So you don't select a bunch of different traits like you do in Sims 4. You have one trait. So you can go from mediator, dreamer, perfectionist, social activist, volunteer, charmer, socialite, go-getter, visionary, individualist, schooler, explorer, collaborator, sentinel, adventurer, entertainer. They all give you like different description characteristics, so for example, volunteer gets you frequently engage in helping other, frequently feel sentimental, confidence feeling lasts for shorter time, that kind of stuff. So I, in the end, went for visionary because I usually like more of a creative characters that create like artworks, write books, that's kind of thing I'm usually into. And you can select different backgrounds so you can see how your sim looks like in different environments. Again, very MMO-esque. You can even put them in a green screen, which is kind of cool. Once you create your Inzoi or Zoi, you then choose a desired life, and then there's a few different ones. So there is life of self-discovery, so seek to become the true creator of their own life, life of abundance, life of tranquility, life of freedom. So this is kind of like your life aspirations in Inzoi. So I went for life of creativity, which means that my sim, or Inzoi, I'm gonna keep calling them Sims, aligns with appreciating art, painting, gaming, art, and guitar. And the values that they have apparently is autonomy and coexistence, and also they align with great painters, so they could want to become a great painter, so that suits me. And then the cat decided to birth me onto the world, and I get to choose where I want to go. So it does seem there's 3 cities at the moment, so Dowon, Kuchinguku, which does have more of that kind of like island vibes, and there's also Bliss Bay, which can supposed to be like an American city, so that's kind of how that looked like, but I went for Dowon because it's more of a Korean style city, so I like that. So here's the city of Dowon, which is a little bit confusing. I'm not gonna lie, this map confused me a little bit. I wasn't really sure which places were places I can actually put my Inzoi in, which were like empty lots, which were lots with a building that I can just move into. I was a little bit confused, but I like there's option for wearing shoes indoors, so that's kind of cool that you have that option. Looking back at the footage, I can see that there was it said unoccupied home or empty property, but then again, looking at the first time I was a little bit confused, and I was so surprised how cheap the property was, but then realized it was actually an empty lot. So yeah, I just bought a completely empty lot, as there usually are. But first of all, I had to build a house. I decided to just use one of the pre-made houses because building right now was it was too much. I needed to settle in first. And yeah, it gives you a few different, quite cheap houses. So I went for like the cheapest one, and there it is, my first Inzoi home. Hell yeah, that looks good. So here my Inzoi game began, and straight off the bat, it felt like Sims. From the way the Inzois are talking, from like just generally feel of the game, it feels very Sim-like. However, there are definitely differences when it comes to the UI, which I will go into a bit more details later on, but I really like the phone, the way it's implemented. It basically looks like modded Sims, which there's nothing wrong about that. So, it's time to make some acquaintances. So I just talked to a rando on the street, and from the get-go you can see that the interaction menu is slightly different. It seems to be just random interactions from the get-go. You can do different things like greeting lovingly, yell, give directions. It does seem that there's bad and good interactions because it's about karma. So there's good and bad karma interactions. So that was interesting. You can talk about values, about romantic relationships, but he wasn't interested, so he just walked away. Since socializing didn't work, I decided to look at the skills, and I have different ones. So there's rhetoric, performance, charm, critical thinking, programming, fitness, media production, coffee craft. So there's quite a few different ones. So I decided to do something creative. So it does seem from the beginning you have writing, working on programming, compose music, and create video just by using your computer, which is kind of cool. So creating videos, it's only something that we have in Sims 4 using a very specialized like a media creation desk, which was always annoying. Here you can just do it on a computer in a based version of Inzoi, so you don't need a DLC for it, which is kind of nice. But I decided to go for writing because that's something I usually do in those games. First of all, I want my Sim to become a writer genius of Inzoi world. At this point, I also discovered that there are filters. So yeah, this game has this cute little things like different filters that change the way the game looks. So there's cartoony, black and white, diorama, fish lens, mono, retro, thriller. There's a few different ones. And I'm not gonna lie, I like the way they implemented the writing, where you can see like basically the Sims or Inzoi screen above them. It kind of looks cool, you know. It allows you to see better what they're actually doing, which I think is a nice stylistic choice. Doesn't add much because again they're just writing gibberish because it's not actual language, but it's still cool. Then I decided to look through the build mode, mainly to look at some more creative items and hobbies that we can give Catalina to do. And there's lots of different items, more instruments than in Sims 4. Even right now we have drums and other things like that. There's only one way to do paintings, but that's fine. And you can even get a Steam Deck. That's awesome. But I just decided to get an easel because we're trying to be the most creative Inzoi we can. So writing is one thing, but I also decided, you know what, let's do painting too. We finished our first novel and we just got to sell it. We just sell it for the computer because I presume it's a digital copy. I don't think there is like a fame system in this game, so per se. I didn't get any fame for writing this book, but anyway, we then decided to do some painting, and it works very similar to the way it does in Sims. Also, cool thing is you can access the phone at any time, even if your Sims or Inzoi is doing something. So I went into the education tab and decided to apply for school for multimedia arts major. So yeah, that was interesting, and there's also quite a few different jobs. There's like part-time jobs and everything. So that was interesting. I kind of like that. So you have a schedule, tells you what time you can go to school, and you can manage everything from the phone, which I think is kind of cool. It's a good idea because again, we all know how phones work, so I think that's a cool idea. And yeah, there's quite a lot of jobs in this just base game, which I do believe all of them are interactive, which is kind of cool as well. And I achieved art level 1. So yeah, so essentially as you level up, you unlock new paintings that you can do, which is cool, Not gonna lie, at this point I felt a little bit aimless. I wasn't really sure what to focus on, so I just decided to just follow my Sims needs. We got some food done, which there's quite a few selections of food. It works very similar in Sims 4 once again. I decided to write another novel, and it does seem that you can't just sell your painting out of the easel. You have to like sell it on like something like Plopsy in Sims 4. So I was just waiting for it to sell, but it was bad quality, so no one wanted to buy it. So yeah, it was just fulfilling the needs, eating, you know, showering, sleeping, trying to find some aim in my life. But there wasn't really much happening, and I just didn't know what to focus on. I was really kind of waiting for the school to start, hoping that this will bring some fun into the game. But then I had this thing pop up about karma status not being good. I have no idea how the karma system works in this game. It's not explained well at all. So I just ignored it and had a bit more food. Being bored, I then went outside trying to talk to people. So yeah, I made a friend, which was cool. And I just continued to paint and just wait until school actually started. The days were so long in Inzoi. I have to say, they felt so long. Then a mysterious stranger came to my doors, and we really hit it off. So we decided to go on to the date. I went to the park, but he stood me out, so unfortunately I went back home to eat some ramen. This was not a good day for love. So I spent my days again writing and eating on a loop. I do like the fact that you can actually speed up time even faster than the little arrows allow you to, so up to like 8 times speed, which is kind of cool. I do like that. The days passed, or a day passed, because this was the longest day in history, and then I had a hang out with my friend. You know, we're just standing there chilling, and then finally the time has come to go to school. And yeah, it turns out you can't interact in school at all. You just sit there looking at the building for hours. It took so long for her to leave the school. I was just shocked how long it took, even on the fastest speed. It was crazy. So I dropped out immediately and got the job because that was ridiculous. I needed something fun to do. So once again, I was waiting. There's lots of waiting in this game, especially because the days are so long. But one interesting thing is that all the Inzois do seem to have their own little schedules, and they can be busy at a time when you're not. As such, for example, the relationship with the mysterious stranger was quite difficult to maintain because he was always busy. He was always at work or doing something else. So just whenever I was available, he wasn't. So yeah, that is kind of interesting and kind of realistic aspect of the gameplay, because in real life it is similar. Relationships are based on your schedule, kind of. But yeah, that's interesting. I like that aspect of it because you can't just rely on, you know, them dropping everything and coming to your house like they're doing Sims. You do need to cater to their schedule as well. The karma thing popped up again and I had to intervene. I don't know why. They had terrible karma. They were evil apparently, and I intervened somehow. I don't know how. I don't know what happened. I don't understand it. So I moved on. I really do like the fact that houseworking is a skill of its own, and basically you can just click on a mop or something and then the Inzois are just, you know, cleaning the house. That is cool. And the washing mechanic is very simple. You just walk up to the washing machine, click on it, and they're clean. But yeah, those little things are kind of cool. I do want houseworking to be a skill in Sims. That would be kind of cool. Also, the same like in Sims, Inzois do have like whims or wants. So for example, they want to paint and other things. It's all kind of based on their likes, their hobbies, you know, things that they usually do. So very similar to Sims. But I was so tired of waiting, I decided to actually change the time of the day, because it was impossible for me to wait this long for anything to happen. So I changed from 96 minutes to 48 minutes. It's still quite a long time, 48 minutes for a single day in Inzoi time. So yeah, I decreased a little bit and it felt so much better. So I do recommend you doing this if you find the game to be slow. It was still impossible for me to call the mysterious stranger. The only person I have a romantic relationship with was never available. Oh well. Bored, I looked at the map and realized there are actually businesses in the world where you can visit, which is kind of cool. So I went to the bank just to see what it's all about, but yeah, I just realized it was closed because it was 2 a.m. So, which kind of makes sense. One thing I would definitely praise this game for, the cooking mechanics, or at least animations, look more similar to Sims 3, where you do have like specific animation for specific meal, which I really appreciate. I like those kind of little details. They add a lot to the game, in my opinion. I don't understand why though Inzoids make the food but never actually eat it. You have to still click on them to eat it, which is annoying. Then finally, time to go to work. Yes, first time I ever said this. First time I was happy to go to work, but I just wanted something to do. And thankfully, the work here is interactable. So essentially go into, like even working in a convenience store, there's a whole convenience store for you to explore and look at, and you have different tasks to do. So for example, it starts off with you having to change into your uniform, which is a quite neat little detail. And then you have little tasks that you have to complete in a timely manner. So like cleaning up the tables, like cleaning the floor, organizing the shelves, and then minding the register. So that's kind of cool. I do like aspect of kind of everyday tasks like this. Sims 4, when they just disappear into nothingness, even Sims 3, they do that a lot too. It gets kind of boring, but that's kind of cool that there's this whole aspect. You have to kind of look at your needs as well, you know, have lunch break and everything, and you need to make sure you do everything in timely manner. So I really did like that aspect of this. It gave me this much more kind of a simulation vibe to the game, which again, I think that's what was missing so far. Just doing, like, just writing the books and everything just didn't feel fulfilling enough, which in Sims 4, I find I'm happy enough just doing that rather than working. But here, yeah, the work really added a lot to the experience. By the way, if you reach this point, please subscribe for future videos and like this video if you like it. And let's go back to Inzoi. After work, I decided, you know what, let's go out and see what's happening in the town. So I went to a Tarot Fortune Cafe, which apparently is a place where you can order a coffee as well as get your fortune told, which is an interesting concept. And there I met a new mysterious stranger, a husky barista, which we hit it off straight away. Was that a way into new love? Who knows? What I like though, he was actually busy because he was working. So I had to leave because we couldn't really talk because he was busy working. I like those kind of little details, you know? You can't just distract everyone and just stop what they're doing just for you. No, he's working, he's at work. He had to go back to work, so I like that. So we went back home and went to sleep. That was the first day where I really enjoyed Inzoi. It did turn out though that I think he just finished his shift, so I invited him so we can chat a little bit, you know? We chatted behind our house for some reason, and I tried the romance option. So it does seem that we do have a different categorization of interactions like in Sims, but you just have to go through this menu. But yeah, we started to really hit off, and you know, we started to have some kind of a romance going on. There was kissing, there was hugging, there was a lot of different stuff. So I decided, you know what? We need to invest in a double bed. Interesting thing in this game is that you announce what kind of relationship you have. So as you level up certain interactions with a different Inzoi, you can announce, let's be friends, let's be best friends, let's be lovers, you know, or you can demote the relation if you want to. So with this dude, I decided, you know what, let's bring it to the next step. Look at those hearts, love that. And then we did set the mood next to the bed, which is basically the woohoo of this. It's not as exciting as in the Sims 4. There isn't any cool animation, but there's little fireworks. And then we did it. We officially had a relationship going. Hell yeah, Catalina, we did it. We had jolly good fun, but then I realized we have to work very, very soon. So Catalina didn't get a good night's sleep. So we went to work quite tired, unfortunately. We changed into our uniform and, you know, start doing stuff. And then she just sat down on a chair and dozed off, which is actually kind of cool detail. You can sit down anywhere and doze off, which I like the aspect of that. That's what happened in real life as well. But yeah, we did our work to best of our abilities based on the fact that we're basically super tired. But yeah, we managed to go through the shift without too much issues. We're taking occasional naps in the staff room, so that wasn't too bad. It's a good thing to mention that this game has like this kind of texting mechanic where Sims can text you or Inzois can text you, and the mysterious strangers message me, you give me strength. What have you been reading lately? I'd love to know what interests you. And you can do like positive or negative response. and that will help your relationship as well, which I think also is kind of realistic and a bit more kind of modern way of doing things. People text a lot. The things that those Inzoi's text feels very weird, so I'm not sure if it's a mistranslation or some kind of a bad AI they're using, but yeah, that does happen quite a bit, which is kind of interesting. Then by mistake, I just went into a new menu on the phone, which is the ambition menu. So you can have like different ambitions for, you can like career success, family happiness, harmony. So it's not only do you have the kind of, you're like a life goal per se, you also have additional ambitions which you choose on your phone. I'm not sure why it's not in creator menu, but I created the creative expression. So it's very similar to just the ambitions in Sims, where you select, you know, let's say painting, and you have to create so many paintings, other stuff like that. So that's cool. That added additional thing for me to look out for and do. Oh yeah, I forget to mention that I did do some building. I didn't do much. I just expanded the house slightly because I wanted to add like a couch and stuff. And oh my god, the system is so awkward. I was just trying to move a room, or expand it a little bit, but I always find it impossible. I had to like add a foundation kind of, and then delete the wall and move it, and then it's like, it was just so awkward. I also couldn't like select the same type of wallpaper or like the same kind of brick. I couldn't just find it at all, because it's not as categorized as simpler as it is in Sims 4. It is more kind of like in a 3D program, which gives you potentially more options, but I just had to repaint the whole house for it to be, you know, somewhat consistent. And yeah, I didn't like it. Maybe I should do it a little bit more to see. Maybe in the future I will do some kind of a build video, but I really did not like the way building worked in this. It was very counterintuitive, and I just decided not to build again. Anyway, we invited our now kind of romantic partner to the house, and with Inzoi you can talk to them and ask them different questions about themselves in order to kind of understand more about them, and then you fill out this profile that you have for Inzoi's, you know. And I serenaded him and stuff like that. We kind of tried to do the setting the mood beside the bed, but it didn't really work. But then I found out, after asking him a few questions, is that he is actually married. What? Come on, bro. Could you not at least resist a little bit my flirtation? Okay, I could have asked earlier, but come on, bro. We did declare to be true lovers, but then I was like, I don't feel good about this. So yeah, we kind of stopped the romance right there. The mysterious stranger was not getting the hint. He was saying, are we playing mind games over text? Let's work out together. I'd be nice to see you. And I kind of just replied with, no, I think I prefer having time to myself. And he was like, huh? So yeah, he was not getting the hint. I do like that in Inzoi you do have like a little character profile that in a quick glance gives you kind of idea of your preferences, your desired life, ambitions, and stuff like that. And there's also a Meow store, which is kind of like the ambition point store that you have in Sims. But here you just get donuts, which help you different stuff. I never really look into them too much. You do have options to select your kind of preferences. So from fitness, food, nature, hobbies. So that's cool. That's kind of like what we got in Sims 4 after a while as well. So it's kind of cool because it basically depends on what your sim will want to do in their own time, or Inzoi, what to do in their own time, and what kind of urges they have based on what they prefer. Per usual, when I went to sleep, I was told that the karma levels are so bad, and I don't know how I can keep the karma levels right. My Inzoi was doing everything right. She wasn't mean or bad at all. So I don't just know what can we really do. Do we have to interact with all the Inzois and making them do good things, or do you have to actually take control of different Inzois to be able to for them to do right things for their karma to go up? I don't know, but I wasn't interested in playing other Inzois than Catalina, so I just ignored it once again. By the way, when they say large canvas in Inzoi, they mean large canvas. Look at that. That's huge. I had a day off, so I decided to actually go into a gamer cafe. Yeah, so it's not something that we have here, so I wanted to see, how does it look like? And it looks kind of cool. There's a lot of different computers. You can play games on it. That was cool. You can order coffee and ramen and stuff. Yeah, it looks like kind of cool place for Inzois to hang out. And that's where we met Zong. And he seemed like a cool guy. One of the first thing I kind of tried to ask him was, is he, what's his relationship status? And it seems he was single, so we went on a date. And on a date, you have this kind of scripted actions and immediate actions. So you just press on it and the Inzois do it, which I don't think actually is a cool way to do this. So it's like, instead of going to the menu, the interactions menu and stuff like that, you can just press on them and do it, which was kind of cool. So yeah, I do like the way this worked. And yeah, you can see it here. He's single, unemployed, but he is single. That's a rare thing in this game, it seems. But yeah, that was our first proper date because the other one didn't work out. And I realized there was actually a photo mechanic, so you can actually take photographs of your Inzois, and there's like positions, different like expressions and stuff. So that was cool. So we took some pictures and we went home. So it's a good time as any to talk a little bit about the UI of this game, because I have a lot of feelings about it because I really like it. So we have that bar at the bottom, which is basically shows you what your Inzois or Zois are currently doing. You have a little toggle for your needs, so you don't have to look at it all the time. You have a little tranquility, it says tranquility now, but it basically shows mood of your Zois. You have little skill menus, and the good thing is you can move all aspects of UI anywhere you like, which is awesome. You have the little tab where you can look at overview of your Inzoi, which is awesome. And most importantly, you have the phone, which is basically the management of everything there. I really like the way the UI is implemented. I think it is less cumbersome than in Sims. I think having everything in the middle makes it so much easier, and managing everything through your phone, I think, is a better option. The relationship tab is also simple. It's all kind of have this mobile UI to it, but that's a good thing because it feels like you're operating like on your phone, which we all know how to operate on the phone, so it just makes it so much more intuitive. Anyway, we decided to go out to a thrift shop and get some clothes. And essentially, I just kind of play around with the clothing, kind of recoloring and stuff, trying to make it like a color block hoodie. And it looked quite good. Yeah, I do like to create the Inzoi mechanics. And here I was kind of trying to play a little bit with the WASD keys. I don't really see a point of that personally. To me, I just want to click to make them move and do stuff, but each to their own. At this point, I decided that I want to have Catalina get a little family because I thought that could be a good thing. So, I've invited our boy and we got engaged. Woohoo! That's awesome. We can finally bring family together because apparently the only way to bring family or like someone into your house in Inzoi is to get engaged or get married. Unfortunately, that's the only option. But we did that. We joined our households and we basically moved to a new place because that's how it was. And we decided to get married straight away, which meant we just on the street we exchange vows and stuff like that. But yeah, we had a wedding and now I controlled 2 Inzois at once. That's crazy. So yeah, our new house was much bigger than the previous one, but unfortunately certain things were broken, which actually, it's not a big of a problem. You have the P-Market place where you can basically order food, babysitter, cleaning services, and repair services. So we got a guy to come in and fix our stuff. So that was good. Yeah, so we finally had a family, and you can very quickly switch between Inzois by just pressing space, so that makes it easier. And we decided to try for baby. Hell yeah, we got pregnant, bro. We did the test, and yes, we were pregnant. I love there's a little animation and everything. But yeah, we were pregnant, so that's awesome. There wasn't really a way to tell the partner, which is kind of shame. But then I realized that there is a bed in the living room and a little like a hospital thing. So it seems like there was someone like elderly or sick living in this house. I wonder what's that about, but I decided to remodel a little bit because we didn't really need that bed there. I did the karma thing again, not sure what was that about. And then we got our new hobby, a job, because he's currently unemployed. And then that's when this happened. I got very, very sick. Well, very sick. I already lost my voice at the point where Inzoi came out, so I had to cancel the stream. And then I got more sick, so I couldn't really play games. And I was sitting there thinking about all the games I wanted to play. And I just realized Inzoi was not one of those games. I was thinking about The Sims 3 World Adventure, which I was really enjoying. I was thinking of Schedule 1, which recently came out and I tried, and I enjoyed it so much. But I was not thinking about Inzoi at all. Whenever I just thought about this, I was fine never playing Inzoi again. But why? Well, I thought about this a lot, and I came to a conclusion, but before I tell you that, warning, this is just my opinion, warning. Having that out of the way, I just have to say that Inzoi is just nothing special. Yet. It is a nice looking game with some neat features and a lot of potential, but it's just less featureful than Sims 3, even looking at Sims 3 base game, and of course Sims 4 with all of this DLC. It has potential to be great, but as a player, I won't be, playing a game based on what it can potentially be. I'm playing it based on what it currently is. And yes, it's in early access right now, so we do need to highlight that. However, at the moment, it's a sub-power experience, and I just prefer to play Sims 3, if I'm 100% honest. Yes, there are cool things in Inzoi, like moving with WASD keys, with keyboard, like an action game, or free driving, but it's nothing groundbreaking, and nothing that would make me want to move from Sims 3 or even Sims 4. I did thought about it a lot, in bed, feverish, tired, shivering, trying to think, like, what would make me want to play Inzoi. More content is one thing that would definitely help. It always does help to have more content. The biggest problem I think is that we're comparing content in Inzoi to Sims 4, and Sims 4 has 10 years worth of DLC and updates. So of course it wins in that comparison. As much as I like the idea of the free expansion in Inzoi, how long will we have to wait to get to the same point of content as we have in Sims 4? Will it also take 10 years? Because if it's going to take 10 years to get to the point of, where we are in Sims 4 now, Sims 4 will always have more content. So it will always be ahead. The deciding factor at that point would be who does it better. Inzoi has an advantage, as it has ability to learn on the Sims 4 mistakes and make DLC like businesses and season and all of that better and more featureful, which would then potentially convince some Sims veteran to switch. However, it is conditioned on that point. Will it be better? And with the DLC in Inzoi being completely free, yes, at one hand it's good, but on the other hand, will it be as good as Sims 3 or 4 expansions? We can say a lot about those expansions. A lot of them are quite good. But if it's a free DLC, how will they monetize this game going forward? That's another thing that I wonder about. But will the DLC be as good as a proper expansion if it's just a content update? That is the question I really do have about this. But it's just one of those things that time will tell. Personally, I think one thing that would make me want to play a Sims competitor over Sims, if it did something new and different. Inzoi is just Sims 4 with some Sims 3 features and visual that many people wanted Sims to have. Everything else is just Sims, from needs management, game loop, and even the language that Zois or Inzois, whatever you want to call them, are using. There are a few things that they do slightly different, but generally it is the same thing. I like some aspects of all the Zois having their own schedule, which does impact the relationship, so that's cool. I like the interactive careers, even the ones like convenience store worker, that is cool. But is it enough for me to want to play it? It's not that different. It is basically Sims. There's the karma system, which I tried to Google, I tried to watch videos, and I don't understand it. My head can't wrap around how this system works, and it doesn't seem to be that important or that interesting for me to want to get involved in it. There was one recent game that came out that made me also rethink kind of what we want from a Sims competitor, and that is the release of Schedule 1, game that took the world by storm by offering us something different. Instead of doing another like open world crime game where you go around and just shoot and steal cars, it is focused on a different side of the crime industry that industry leader like GTA never gave us. It offered a little more unique gameplay, it offered something else that we just never had before. And maybe that's what true competitor to Sims 4 should do. Should give us something that we cannot do in Sims 4. There are a lot of mods that people install, like extreme violence or base mental drugs, that are very popular and are something that we will never get in base Sims 4 with any updates, any DLC, because it is a type of content that EA would never allow us to have. I think anyone who wants to make a Sims competitor should really look at the mod scene and see which are popular and what our people really want to do with their Sims game, what they want to see. Yes, Inzoi added some of those things like open world, the cars, drums, all that stuff, but I just don't think it's enough. I do feel that we have not seen a true threat to Sim supremacy yet, and I feel when it comes, it will be from a small studio, looking much less impressive than Inzoi, but it will be a game that will take more risks, giving us something new and different, and something that feels like it has more heart to it. Is Inzoi a terrible time? No, I think it's a decent game, but right now I would not drop Sims for it, but I will check out next new update drop that will drop with the game. I will be looking for the future kind of expansions, as they would say, the free expansions they're gonna have. I will be looking at this game and trying it every now and then, but I definitely will not dedicate everything to it. I will not suddenly start making just Inzoi content, because I just don't enjoy it as much, and I don't think there's enough incentive for me to do that based on what I'm seeing in the game. There's just game has a potential, but just doesn't have, it yet. It doesn't yet exceed what the Sims franchise has given us. But who knows? We'll see what the future brings. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Inzoi. Have you played this game? Will you try it out? Do let me know in the comments. I am always curious about that. And also, let me know if there's any other kind of Sims competitors that we should look out for. I know that there is the Paralives coming out someday. It looks promising, but we will see how it does once it comes out. There's a few things in this game I didn't mention, like, in Inzoi I didn't mention any of the AI features, any of the things you can do with, like, uploading your, like, custom dances and stuff, because I really didn't care about that. So if you want to comment about that, that's completely fine, but it's just I will not check out those features out, because I don't really care about them. But yeah, like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, dislike it and share it with your enemy to make them suffer as well. And subscribe for more feature videos. We also will be doing live streams of The Sims 3, so make sure to subscribe, and there'll be more videos on Sims 3 and other Sims related stuff. So yeah, I shall see you next time. Bye!